Welcome back to another episode of an Investor's Journey podcast. I am your host, Jonathan Barbera. And before we get going on this episode, I just wanted to remind you guys that you can sign up to our Investor Digest that goes out every week. And everything that we send out email is all content. Like, we're not selling you anything, we're not doing anything. Everything is of value, things going on in the market, news, our market updates, everything. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure to go to our website at primehomes.com and sign up. It goes out every week with blogs and, these videos and a bunch of other stuff. So definitely check it out. Subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. That way you don't miss one. And let's get going with this week's episode. So on this week, I wanted to cover how to get started wholesaling. So I'm thinking of doing a few of these. I'm going to do this week, I'll do the wholesaling. Possibly next week, I'll do flipping and then buy and hold. I'm not going to do owner finance because I don't care for it too much. And I don't know much about it. And I mean, we've done it, but not a fan of it. So not something that I want to be sharing my thoughts on. I think there's other people more qualified for that. But you're pretty much going to get that 3-part series if you want to, really take some notes and figure out how to get started in those areas. So we're going to do wholesaling today, buy and hold, fix and flip next week, and buy and hold the week after that. All right. And this is everything of how to start from not knowing what to do all the way to securing your first couple deals. So getting into this one, how to get started wholesaling. I've spoken about this a few times already. I think this is the part where literally everybody should start in because it's a great introduction to real estate. Wholesaling is something that I believe is the fundamentals of real estate, in the sense that it teaches you marketing, negotiations, deal analysis, market analysis, buyer analysis. It shows you what a deal looks like, what it doesn't, where the market is going, what strategies are being implemented. So I feel if you start off in the realm of wholesaling, you're giving yourself a really strong foundation as an investor as you grow and scale your business. Because wholesaling is definitely not where you want to end up, right? Wholesaling is somewhere you start. It's that first stone that you're going to step on to get across. And that's how you should look at it. So the biggest thing when you start in real estate is trying to define your purpose within real estate. Like, what are you finding is going to be your purpose in this? Because I speak to so many people that they want to get into real estate because they want more money. They think it's going to be less hours. They're going to be able to do this on the side. It's easy and all these things, but never because they love the business. And just like any business, you need to love what you do because you need to be good at it. You understand? Real estate is just not something that you're going to stumble into and make a shit ton of money. You understand? It just doesn't happen. That you might get lucky from time to time, maybe, but you're also going to be unlucky the majority of the time. And you might end up losing your ass tremendously in this industry, like you will in any business. So if your purpose in real estate is not to become a successful real estate investor because you love the trade, you love what real estate provides, you should really be asking yourself, is this the right route for me? Because it will take a lot of work. All right. And we're going to cover some of that work here. So the first thing I'm going to cover is your first steps in wholesaling. So within your first steps, the first thing you need to do is be aware that you do not need expensive training or courses or programs or gurus or mentors to get started in this business. All right. I'm not saying you don't need any of it. I'm just saying you don't need the really expensive crap, right? I don't think that you need to spend $15, $20, $50,000 on some guru training package from some guru that is in Arizona or Florida or wherever the hell they're from, right? I think that is a huge, huge waste of money. And you're going to be very upset once you kind of figure it out that you're like, damn, I definitely didn't need to spend that money. One thing that you need to understand about training is that none of that training matters if you're not willing to put in the work that's going to take to make the results that you want, right? You need to be able to take action. It doesn't matter if you spend $100,000 and you have the best guru training you. If that guru is training you and you are still not taking action, you will never succeed. Now, where this goes is that if you're willing to take the action and put in the work, you can get the same results with a book. You understand? Something that costs you $10 on Amazon. You'll be able to get the same results as long as you're willing to put in the work. So you got to keep that in mind. Now, the first thing you need to learn in real estate within your education field is the language of real estate. So the best way to learn any language is to submerge yourself in it, right? They always say, if you want to learn Italian, move to Italy. You want to learn Spanish, go to San Antonio. I'm just kidding. But I mean, you want to go to a place where they speak the language continuously, because that, you hear the words, you understand the content, the context of the words, you understand how they're using them, why they're using them, and it gets to a point where it becomes familiar, right? So then when people are saying, yeah, the ARV or the days on market or, all these formulas and all these things and hard money terms, and this person wants 2 and 12 and all this, and you're just standing there like an idiot, you want to be able to pick that up. So when they're talking about that, you start understanding it's like, oh, okay, so the market is sitting here, or all right, so private money lenders are lending at 12% interest or 2 points or whatever it is. You start understanding what's happening in your market, right? So the biggest thing is to learn the lingo, learn the vocabulary. You can do this by reading blogs. You can do this by going on forums like Bigger Pockets, listening to podcasts, YouTube video, go on Google and just search real estate investment terms. You can go to our own website at Prime Homes. I've created I created 3 guides for wholesaling. They're completely free. I don't ask for anything. Just go check them out. In there, I put a lot of the verbiage that you need to learn and get familiarized with. So networking, all of these things, and do not be afraid of asking somebody, hey, I don't know what that means, right? Because I have countless conversations with new people and I throw out some terms and I see in their face that blank look, like they don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And yet they won't ask. I don't know. It's they're embarrassed or whatever it may be, which is stupid as hell. You should not be embarrassed that you don't know. You understand? Like, you should want to learn, and people love to teach. So ask questions, learn the formulas, learn the vocabulary, because that is what's going to get you to that next level. Knowing how to speak real estate investor is what's going to get you to work with real estate investors and to get deals done. You need to learn the language. The next thing is you need to make networking your full-time job. Don't worry about where you're going to get your next deal from or your next lead from. Worry about networking. When you're first starting off, I'm talking about, you haven't done a deal, you don't know what the hell you're doing. Go network. Go to every networking event out there. You understand? From the major RIAs to the little, happy hour networking, coffee meetups, and all that. From all of those, go to every single one. Learn who the players are. Learn what they're talking about. Learn what strategies are working, what sides of town people are investing in. I want you to be a sponge. All right? I want you to shut up and just attend and listen and only ask questions. All right? Don't give your opinions. Nobody cares about your opinions when you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Stop giving your opinions. Only worry about learning. All right? Don't let your ego get in the way. I'm not trying to be a dick or be rude to you. It's just that I see this time and time again where I'm speaking to a newbie and they're just they're just vomiting nonsense because they don't want to look stupid, right? And I'm like, you're looking even worse because I know my stuff and I know you don't. And by you talking more and more, all I'm saying is that you just have a big ego and you're not going to learn. All right. So you don't want to do that to yourself. You want to go out there and you want to learn. You want to be a sponge, absorb everything people are talking about. And the next thing from this, why you want to make this your full time job, is that this is how you build your buyers list. When you're out networking, when you're out meeting people, you're going to meet flippers. You're going to meet buy and hold investors. You're going to meet owner finance investors. You're going to meet all these people, multifamily buyers, commercial, you're going to meet private money lenders. You're going to meet other wholesalers. This is where you meet the people. This is where you build that power team that everybody talks about. So if you are not networking, if you're not making yourself seen, that you're showing up to every event where people are like, man, this person's really serious because I see them everywhere. I see them at these events continuously. Nobody's going to take you serious, right? And nobody's going to remember you. And that's what it is with this business, that we have so much turnover that I can't keep track of who's new, who's old or anything, because most people don't last that long. And most people are not consistent. They only come to networking events when they're struggling. And that's the worst thing to do. Don't go to them when you need them. Go at all times so then you never need them, right? You should always be at networking events. I'm always networking. I'm always going to the major events because I want to see what's happening in the market. What are new marketing strategies somebody come up with? Or what are some struggles some people are having, with the types of deals? Because this shows me other marketing opportunities. When people tell me that there's some problems here and problems there, all I see is opportunities. All I see is like, all right, well, people are having trouble here. That means that there's something that can be done to make that better, right? To probably market to a different segment of sellers. But I wouldn't know that if I didn't go to these events. And then you start, like I said, you start building that buyers list. And you want to make it a curated buyers list. So this is something that I firmly believe in. Not many people do. The practice is pretty much you build as big of a buyers list as possible. And then when you get a deal, you spam everybody. I don't like that. I don't sign up to it. If you add me to one of those lists, the first thing I do is I go into my email and I report you as spam. I block you and I'll try to report you to the FBI as a sex offender. Joking about the last one, but because all you're doing is just spamming. You're not taking any interest in knowing what I want, what deals make sense for me. You're just sending me all the garbage and nonsense that you're picking up from out there. You understand? And my time matters. And if you're not going to respect my time, I'm not going to respect you. You understand? And that's something that when I started as a wholesaler, we really respected our buyers' time, which is what built our business. You understand? So what we did is when we went and spoke to people and they say, yeah, I'm a buyer. I like fix and flips. I made it a point to sit down with them. Hey, what kind of fix and flips? What area of towns do you like? What don't you like? You understand? How much work are you trying to put into these? What kind of financing do you use? A lot of people don't like asking this, but it's very important. The financing that they use is going to determine your wholesale fee. At least it should. Most people, they set their wholesale fee regardless of who their buyer is. We worked backwards. What we would do is get a property under contract, and then we went from our buyers list, who it benefited the best, right? And worked backwards on their fees and their costs and everything and what their profit was going to be. And then that spread remaining was our profit, our wholesale fee. Sometimes it was $1,000. Sometimes it was $30,000. And whatever that was, that's what it was. I never set wholesale fees. Like I never say I need to get $5,000, $10,000. I don't need to get shit. I'm going to get what I get. You understand? I'm going to get what that deal can generate. My goal is to make sure the buyer gets what they need and the seller gets what they need. And I get that little split in the middle, whatever it is. If it's big, it's big. If not, that's why I got to move on to the next one. I got to keep going. So you want to curate this. You want to make sure you understand all these, what the buying criterias are. So what that's going to lead us to is marketing. So first is your first steps, which is all this, the learning the language, network, and your buyers list. And the next step is marketing. So in marketing, you want to, biggest question I get is, where do I market? Well, if you did steps one, you're going to know where to market. Because if you find your buyers, so like a lot of people that they come to me and they ask me, where am I buying? I have an email already, a template already written out. I shoot it over to them. I have my zip codes that I like, the subdivisions that I like, the price ranges that I like. I have everything on there. You understand? So because I'm a real buyer. I'm not one of these people that, oh yeah, I'm a buyer. I buy anything that makes sense. And then you send them stuff and they never buy. So they're not real buyers, or maybe they are, they just don't know what the hell they want. Either way, they're wasting your time. You want real buyers, buyers that understand this market and know exactly where they want to buy. And when you find them, they're going to give you the areas that they want to buy in. That's where you market. It's not hard. You market where they're giving you their criteria, because then that way you go into those areas, you farm the areas, whatever source of marketing you want to do, and when you get a deal, you have a buyer lined up. It makes it so much smoother. So when it gives you that confidence, because a lot of people always ask me, well, if I get a property under contract, how do I know it's going to sell? That's how. You have the buyers lined up. You have their criteria written out. You understand? Yes, you can always get a property under contract and blast it like every other idiot does. You understand? But you're not learning anything that way. You're just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. You understand? That is not the point of becoming an investor. You should try to be purposeful in your learning and in your education. So you want to make sure that when you bring properties, you bring them to the right buyer. So you get to select the area. Now you got to pick a marketing strategy. There isn't a marketing strategy that works better than everything else. All right? Regardless of what anybody's trying to sell you, if there was, certain people would be killing it, you just using that and you wouldn't know what it is. There isn't. You just have to pick something and stick to it. You understand? Whatever that is, you got to stick to it. Now, I have a lot of videos that I've put up on, driving for dollars, door knocking, cold calling, direct mail. So a lot of different types of strategies that you can do to get, generate the list, clean them and all that. So all the videos are on our podcast. So go check them out. And I put step by step on how to do all those things. But you want to pick a marketing strategy and you want to just stick to it. Set a budget. You understand? Like calculate. All right. How much is marketing this way going to cost me? Let's say you want to do text messaging, right? So how much are text messages going to cost me? And, and then you take that calculation, then you say, okay, if it costs me this much, how many text messages do I want to send out over how long of a period of time, right? What I always say with marketing, never stop marketing. So if you're targeting a list, I would target to hit them at least 18 months. So if that means that you're only hitting 200 people because that's what your budget allows, you're hitting 200 people. But you're hitting those 200 people 18 or more times. You understand? Your chance of conversion is a lot higher at that point. So you want to set a budget, and then you want to set a plan and time block when you're going to be doing your marketing, when you're going to be doing your real estate training, when you're going to be doing all this. Because if you don't plan it, you won't execute on it. And I see this so many times that people try to fit in real estate kind of in their already busy schedule. And I did a podcast about this. I want to say it was the last one of 2019, but I did the glass of water example, right? So right now, you're not in real estate, you're not in anything. Your glass of water is already full, right? Every minute of your day is accounted for, even if that time is sitting down and watching the wall. Right? Regardless of what it is, that time is accounted for because you're doing something every minute of every day. So your glass of water is full. What you have to do is you have to be able to sacrifice some of that stuff. You have to be able to scoop some of that water out of that cup, whatever that may be. That may be binging on YouTube, Facebook, watching TV. Maybe it's, I don't know. I don't know, whatever dumb shit you're doing that you're willing to sacrifice. Go ahead and sacrifice that and then fit real estate in that time frame, because you need to dedicate the time. If you do not dedicate the time every single day to real estate investing, you will not succeed in this, because it needs time and it needs a lot of work. And you're not going to do it when you all of a sudden remember you have to. You understand? If you don't make this a priority, it will never be a success. And if this is your purpose and this is what you want to do, you need to make it a priority. So you want to time block and set that up. Again, how long do you do marketing for? Forever. You never stop. Even when you get a deal, even when you get a lead that's you're working and you're excited because it's your first lead and everybody's so motivated and you're going to make a killing on it because you're just running your numbers, which you don't understand, and you feel like you're going to make $40,000 on your first deal. You keep marketing because deals fall apart. Deals sometimes don't make as much as you think. And even if they do, as soon as you make that money, you have to move on to the next one. You understand? And if you have this marketing wheel going, it takes a long time. It's kind of like that image that we've seen a lot of times of somebody pumping the well, that it takes a lot of effort at the beginning without you seeing any water come out. And then all of a sudden, as soon as the water starts coming out, then you can slow down on the pumping because now it's just momentum is keeping that water going. It's the same thing with marketing. It takes a lot of work at first, and it's a lot of dedication, and you don't see a lot of results. But once you start seeing it, it's going to start automating itself. You're going to need a lot less effort to maintain that wheel rolling. So never stop marketing. And one thing that you got to get out of your head. So I hear this continuously, which is shocking, but people they tell me, what's a script that I can use with sellers so I don't waste my time? What the hell is your time worth? Like, seriously, if you have nothing going on in real estate, you're not making any money, and you need this, and you're really serious about this, how are you wasting your time? Explain that to me. How is anything that you're doing a waste of time? You have nothing. Your time is valued at zero. You understand? Your time is not worth anything. Stop it. What you need right now is no scripts. You need to learn the business. You need to actually build the business. So nothing is a waste of time. Even when it's a waste of time that you went out there and, they either stood you up, or you went out there and the house was jacked and they undersold it or oversold it, you learned something. That's experience. That is something that doesn't matter how many podcasts you listen to or how much training you buy, you cannot learn experience from other people. You need to experience it yourself. You understand? That is the best way to learn. That is how you build experiences, through your own actions. So nothing is a waste of time, okay? Everything is an investment into your education and your experience. You want as many at-bats as possible because you just never know which one is going to be a home run. So stop looking for a script and just put in the work. Now, what you want to focus on as you're doing all of this is credibility. So if you're lazy and you're money hungry and you're just going after a paycheck, you are going to most likely negotiate very bad deals, get properties under contracts that makes nobody money, and you're probably going to end up wholesaling it to some investor that you should have never sold it to. All of these things hurt your credibility. You understand? And this, even though you can make money because we're in a really hot market, this will make it extremely hard to grow a business as you grow, as you expand. Because all these people that can help you along the way, they won't. Because now they know that you're one of those wholesalers that you're in it for the money, right? You'll screw anybody over. You'll sell any piece of crap. You take no time into understanding whether it's a deal or not. So it hurts your credibility, and that's going to hurt your expansion. Your credibility is all you have. Money can be made and lost, and it is made and lost every day. But your credibility is something that takes forever to build and a second to lose. So don't waste it. Try to understand and learn the business as it really is. All right? Be good at the business that you're working. Don't be lazy. Don't chase the money, chase the knowledge. Next thing you want to do is the next step is locking it up. All right? So, negotiations. You get a property, you get a lead, you don't go through any scripts. All right? What you do is you say, the seller says, yeah, I'm interested. I want to sell my house. Great. I can be there in 15 minutes. Are you available? You want to be there as fast as possible. All right? Whenever the next available time that seller has, that's when you want to be there. Because if you don't show up right away, that next wholesaler that or investor that is actually on their game, they will show up and get it on the contract before you. You understand? So you don't want to waste time with scripts or with any of this nonsense. What you want to do is set up that appointment ASAP. Now, what if they ask you for an offer, right? Oh, well, I don't know. Just make me an offer. What would you pay for my house? Because you get a lot of people like that they just want to know. I don't give them, a lot of people, they're like, just give them some lowball offer and just get off the phone. No, I think you should give them an offer. And how do you give them an offer is you start asking them the question of when was the last time, right? When was the last time you updated the roof? When was the last time you updated the air conditioner? When was the last time you renovated your kitchen? When was the last time you updated the bathrooms? The reason you want to say when was the last time is because if you ask them, hey, what kind of updates does your house need? They might tell you nothing. My house is beautiful. It has everything original from the 60s. That's not a beautiful house, right? But to them it is. Or what repairs does your house need? That's the worst question. Most homeowners, their house needs no repairs. Why would they live in a house that needs repairs? That makes no sense. So don't make them defensive. All right? By asking them when the last time was, they really have to answer, right? And a lot of times the answer is like, well, I haven't done the kitchen since I bought it. Or I haven't done the roof since I bought it. Or I haven't done this. Or, I've never done it since I lived here. And then all of a sudden you look on your county website when the deed was, when the house was purchased, and it was 15, 20 years ago, 12 years ago. Now you can take a guess and say, okay, well, the roof is probably this old. The kitchen's probably this old. So you can get a very close guess as to what level of repairs it's going to need, what level of upgrades it's going to need. And the more you do this, the more you go to houses and you see them and you estimate repairs, the better you're going to get at knowing certain areas of town. Like I know certain areas that I'm already factoring in foundation issues, because it's like every house in that neighborhood has foundation issues unless if they fix their foundation very recently, which most sellers haven't. So you want to ask when was the last time. Once you have all that down, you estimate your repairs, and then you do the ARV. All of this I have episodes on how to do all this. All right. So go through the blog, go through the podcast, and you have episodes on how to determine ARVs and all of this. So I'm not going to spend time on that. I'm just giving you the bullet points. I have episodes on these areas specifically. So go check them out. But then you want to go determine the ARV. So you take the ARV. You can do the 70% minus repairs, which means that you take the ARV minus 70%. Minus repairs, minus your wholesale fee. Okay? Don't forget your wholesale fee. So the 70% is pretty much what you're going to buy it at, right? And minus the repairs. That 30% is your closing costs and your profit, usually. Not yours, but whoever you're going to sell it to. It's the closing costs and profits. Profits range from 12 to 15%. So it's a range. Everything changes, so it's the size of the house, the price point, and all of that. But roughly, it's a rule of thumb to go off of. I don't use the 70% minus repairs very often because I know the market, I know the areas, I know what I'm paying. My business partner, John Barr, he's a real estate agent, so our fees are a lot less. So I actually run my numbers when I submit an offer. But you want to pretty much do that. You want to run your ARV minus repairs, minus your wholesale fee, and then you submit your offer there, right? And you tell them, no offer is final. You tell them, hey, this is contingent on me actually going to see to verify that everything is as you say it is. You understand? If things are in better condition, I can actually afford to pay you more. Will you? No. But it's a great tool because now it keeps them hopeful, thinking, hey, if I let this person come through, maybe I can get more. Chances are you're always going to get less. You understand? Because you go and they completely oversold the house. So, but I still submit an offer. And then when you're there negotiating, when you get the chance to actually go, I talk about the same side of the table technique. So pretty much when you're negotiating, usually in my head, I'm a very visual person. I picture sitting across the table from each other, right? Negotiating. What I'm trying to do in my head is get on the same side of the table. I want us to start working together to solve your problem. Because when I can get to that point, it doesn't matter what the solution is, we're going to come to it together. So you want to make sure you go and you're thinking of how to solve their problem, not they need money, and I've done a podcast on negotiation and everything, but I'm gonna do another one to further explain this. But you want to get on the same side of the table. You got to figure out what their pain points are, and you want to resolve those pain points. It's never about money. Don't negotiate money because you will always lose. And now contracts. If you did really good at negotiating, contracts are going to be a breeze. Because if you did good at negotiating, they're like, yes, I love it, I want to sell. You don't have to be a pro at the contracts. You just go reading it and filling it out as you go, and they'll have the patience. They don't care, and you go explaining it to them. And really explaining it to them is just reading the contract out loud. That's what I always used to do. I hate contracts. I still hate contracts. And all I used to do is say, okay, well, this section here, and I would just read the section out loud. And this section here, and I'll read that section out loud. But the biggest things you want to focus on the contract is, obviously you want their name, the property address, what the terms are. Are you buying it cash? Are you buying it subject to? What is the terms? How are you buying this house? You want to make sure to set who's paying closing costs. So if they're not getting any money, usually the buyer pays all closing costs. If they're getting a good amount of money, we split that closing cost. Seller pays for their share, we pay for our share. So, but you want to make sure to understand that, and you want to fill those things out correctly, because when you go wholesale the contract, all of those things you agreed to are now being transferred over to the buyer. So this buyer is inheriting everything you negotiated. So you need to understand what you're negotiating so they understand what they're buying. All right. So you want to negotiate all that. You want to make sure you set the closing date. When are they supposed to move out? Right. If they need time, a lot of people, this is a great negotiation tactic. Again, I did an episode on this, is seller leasebacks. There are times the sellers need money to move. So they want to close on the property, get the money, and then they can afford to move. That's fine. But I don't give them all of their money. If they're getting a real scenario, they were getting $20,000 back, they needed money to move, I held $10,000 back. They got $10,000, I held the other 10. We did a seller lease back, and I gave them 2 weeks to move out. They needed 7 days, I gave them 2 weeks. After the 2 weeks, the 2 weeks were free. That's up to you if you want to make them free or not. I make them free. But after the 2 weeks, after the 14th day, on day 15, it's $100 a day for every day you stay there. That's why you hold the money back. You got to give them an incentive to want to leave. Because I had this problem when I started. We did these leasebacks. We didn't put that in there. And then my buyer had to go through the trouble of pushing these people out of that house. Luckily, there weren't any major issues, but it can get very ugly if it's not done correctly. So don't put your buyer in that situation. Don't put yourself in that situation. Get a seller lease back, hold some money back. All right. And again, I did an episode on that as well. So that's the contracts. You want to fill out anything that you need, and then you take that contract and you send it off to title. In Texas, we do it with title companies. New York, you work with attorneys. Wherever the hell you are, figure out who the contracts go to. The reason you want to send it off, even though you don't have a buyer yet, is you want to make sure you get clear title. Are there any liens? Are there anything in this contract that's going to screw it up that they need to get worked out? When you bring your contract to a buyer, you want to bring it to them with clear title. You understand that everything in title has been resolved. It makes it easier for the buyer because now, as soon as you bring a contract to a buyer, they got to start doing their due diligence and everything. If you haven't even done title work, and I spend all this time doing my due diligence, and then I go and tell you, yeah, I want it, and you're like, oh, actually, we had all these title problems, I'm going to be pissed because, again, you're not respecting my time. All right. So if you're going to do this, do it correctly, send it off to title, and be in communication with title. Try to go with the back and forth, see what's going on. Is it good? Are there any problems? Because you're not done. You understand? You're the only point of contact between the seller and getting this done. It's not your buyer or title company should not be contacting the seller. Only you. You have the rapport built. You understand? The seller's trusting you. So you want to be in contact with them. So definitely pick a title company that understand investor deals. There are a lot of title companies, especially in Texas, that they do cookie cutter, real estate transactions of retail buyers and investor deals. They'll screw them up if they don't know what the hell they're doing. So again, with the networking, if you're networking, you are going to find people that they're going to tell you which are the best title companies they prefer to use. And always take the recommendation from investors that are actually investing. Okay. Don't take it from some wholesaler that's regurgitating what he heard somewhere. Take it from people that are actually using the title companies. Next thing, this will be, I guess, step number 4 is, kind of like what's next after all this. You want to make sure to always ask questions from your buyers. So you have this property, you have it under contract, clear title. Now you're starting to bring to the buyers. You want to ask them, like, if they say, no, I don't want this. Why? I think it met your criteria, it was in the area that you like, it was at the price point that you like, why don't you like it? You understand? Because then this helps you understand what a deal actually looks like. Because you may be assuming that's a good deal, but the buyer looks at it and he's like, oh no, this is a terrible deal. You want to know that. You want to know, why is it a terrible deal? You understand? It may not be. It may be a terrible deal for them because maybe they want a larger profit margin. But maybe there's a lot of buyers out there that are willing to take a smaller profit margin, which is why you network. You want to find your buyers. But you want to get out there and you want to figure it out. You want to see, okay, if I send it to this guy and he told me no, he told me hell no. Why? What did I miss? Well, I underestimated these repairs or those repairs, or I underestimated the value because I crossed over a major road, or the years weren't the same, or whatever it may be. So once you gauge that, now you know better. You understand? Now you can do better moving forward. Now, next time you get a deal, you're going to nail it a lot closer. And where this matters on your wholesale fee. Because the better you get at this, the bigger you can make that wholesale fee, because you can stretch it out a little bit more because you understand more of it. You understand? So you got to ask questions. This also helps you by understanding what a deal looks like the day that you branch off from a wholesaler and you decide to flip or buy and hold, or do whatever it is you want to do within the real estate space. Because now you understand what a good deal looks like, what a tight deal looks like. You understand what they look like because you've been asking questions from people that are actually doing it. And key takeaway from the whole bulk of this conversation is networking. You have to network. You can find partners networking. Maybe you want to do marketing and you can't afford it, but you have the time. Find somebody that wants to do marketing and can afford it, but doesn't have the time, and work with them. You understand? They put the money, you put the time, come together, split the profits, learn, build money, and then you can do it on your own. Or maybe you work together and you build a team like we've done. You understand? Like networking. Also, you find these buyers, you get a lead, You're scared out of your mind. You don't know what the hell you're going to do, how you negotiate it. Call your buyer. Call the buyer that told you they want houses in that area. They'll go with you to that house. They'll negotiate it to what they wanted, and they will teach you handle the contracts, handle everything, and you're going to get paid. You understand? Like, take your buyers with you. They'll teach you how to do this because they want the deal. So networking is the key to being a great wholesaler, a great investor, having the resources. Now, a lot of people ask about automation and outsourcing. You cannot automate or outsource something you don't understand. All right? Or let me rephrase that. You should not automate or outsource something you don't understand. If you've never done cold calling, don't outsource cold calling because you have no gauge. You don't know what a good cold caller should do. You don't know what the returns should be. You don't know how the conversation should go because you've never done it. Put in the time. Learn. I get it. It sucks. We all hate it. I hate cold calling. I hate door knocking. I still did it. I did it for a very long time because then I get firsthand experience on how the buyers are how the sellers are reacting to the message. Are they, pissed off? Are they happy? Are they telling me, damn it, it's the 15th time you've called me? Okay, so this type of buyer is getting hit up a lot. Damn it, this type of seller is getting hit up a lot, right? So that lets me know that maybe I have a list that's not really the best list to market to because there's way too much competition in it. So you want to try this stuff yourself. You want to perfect it. You want to understand it because then when you outsource it or automate it, you have a gauge to determine what the returns should be. You understand? Because now if it takes you, I don't know, an hour to call 50 numbers and then you outsource it and it takes them an hour to call 10 numbers, something's wrong, right? But you're not going to know that if you never called, if you never timed yourself, if you never tracked your marketing, if you never tracked anything that you did. So you cannot automate you should not automate or outsource until you yourself have done it. This is your business. If you don't care enough to put in that time to want to learn it and to want to learn these strategies and want to perfect them and build out the process, I mean, you're just going to struggle. You're always going to be chasing that next shiny penny that some dumbass in a networking event talks about. Oh, I'm killing it on probates. Oh, okay, I'm going to go do probates now. All because they got one lead off a probate list. Not even a deal. They just got a lead. Everybody exaggerates 10 times what they're actually doing. Everybody that says, I'm killing it with this, chances are they haven't even done a deal yet. They just got a lead. Or they started and they get a lot of phone calls. You understand? But they haven't actually closed anything. Nothing's happened. So don't fall for it. All right? Don't be an idiot. Like, stick to your marketing, stick to your guns, and understand the process. Don't be lazy. Don't try to automate stuff that you don't know. And if you find yourself doing this, then really come to terms that maybe this isn't the right thing for you. And that's perfectly fine. There's other ways you can invest in real estate, which we will cover. You understand? This is not for everybody. This is a lot of work. This is a lot of stress and a lot of headaches. All right? And last thing I want to cover is the what ifs. Everybody. What if I get a flip property? What can I do? What if I get a great rental? How can I get it? What if nothing? You have nothing. You have no deals. You have no volume. You have nothing. Stop worrying about the what ifs. Again, if you've been networking and you get a killer deal, you'll have a network to tap into for that what if. You understand? You'll have somebody you can reach out to and say, hey, this is a hell of a flip. Can we partner on it? I'll bring it to you. You put up the rest and, we'll work on it together. I want to learn the process. I mean, don't stress about the what ifs. What ifs this? What if that? And somebody asked me like, well, what about private money? How can I get private money? I'm like, for what? For a flip. How many flips have you done? None. What are you worried about? You have no marketing. You have no leads. You have no deals. What do you want money for? Like, why are you wasting your time doing something that is step number 8 when you haven't even taken step number 1 yet? You understand? Don't get ahead of yourself. Stop procrastinating because that's all you're doing with those what ifs is procrastinating. All right? Take the time, Get the process in place. What is? I've lost a lot of crazy great deals because all I was doing is wholesaling. I was building my pipeline, I was building my funnels, I was building my system. And now looking back at it, I'm like, man, that was a hell of a deal. That was a hell of a deal. But at the time, I didn't know and I didn't care. What matters is moving forward. What matters is putting in the work. Because of that, I've been able to see that all those are great deals. So now when they come across my table, I snatch them up every single time. You understand? Because I know what that looks like. So stop worrying about the what ifs. Take the steps. All right. Start from the beginning. Start networking. Learn the language and get out there and put in the work. Without putting in the work, you can spend all day long learning from every guru in the world. Nothing's going to matter if you don't put in the work. So, that being said, that's it. That's how you get started in wholesaling. There's no magic formula, there's no silver bullet. That's it. It's put in the work. It's simple. Networking, doing it consistently, is going to take care of 90% of your troubles. Get out there, start networking. Any questions or anything, let me know. Comment, hit me up on social media, email, and share this with your friends. Subscribe. I'm happy you guys are enjoying the podcast and everything. If you have any questions or anything, again, reach out to us. We're always here to help. So I'm glad you guys are enjoying it, and I will catch you guys on the next one.